Drifting into the third hour of what he wouldn't describe as exactly a siege, Diz, in his driver's seat reclined, estimates 4/5 of the children in his people carrier are sleeping. A silent majority. Meanwhile, the back garden, under suspicion, has been untroubled by anyone throughout. And so it goes. Just grey-green conifers slanted in the wind. Another 5, 10, 20 minutes until a wave of awakenings, a massing need for bathroom breaks, drives them from the estate's patchwork tarmac. Into wider roads, under wider skies, the carrier cruises past a middle-aged group, well wrapped around a sign reading "Beep for Jarrell," and does not beep, sees one greying lady gesture in anger. Even tailing into the new-built suburb where their bright red house sits surrounded, every neighbouring window with a modestly smiling poster for the charity single. The town's gone mad, is what Diz thinks. Driven mad. From outside. From above. Night follows, filling the cul-de-sac, as the children troop unsupervised, annexing corridors for complicated manoeuvres, but carefully, quietly. Diz, prepping for feeding time. Every gas ring assigned, turns to the radio. The hopeful in a coma is the third story. The talent show runner-up savagely beaten by an unknown gang last week. Diz isn't convinced being the first voted off the live final qualifies as runner-up, but at least has the satisfaction of switching off the moment the single, recorded by other runners-up, losers, thinks Diz, currently climbing the charts, leads in with its oozing strings. The children have wordlessly worked together their various dinner tables, occupying most of their living area. This apparently overwhelms Herta when she staggers in from work, takes her place, eats politely but slowly, head nodding before her plate's half empty, excuses herself without ceremony. Night deepens, a uniform dark behind the curtains. He's not a good role model, Diz is stressing to the children. He didn't write those songs. That show is just... It's not even really talent they're measuring. It's who do people feel most sorry for. But they have no frame of reference. Born too late. When even they're in bed, when the lights are off and the walls all flooded with shadow, he watches Hells interviewed on the news. She's frizzing, overpainted, sad but still beautiful. More beautiful than she was at school, more stylish, thanking the fans for buying the record. She is saying she is sure Jarrell will make a comeback soon. If anyone has any information, please. I can feel the love, she is saying. Diz is thinking, I was outside your house 3 hours today. Driving to the supermarket in the morning, he sees a teacher parading students along the route Jarrell famously took the night of the attack. Assumes at first they're adding to the clutter of flowers bound to every last sign, but their eyes are on the ground. Out of class to look for evidence. He'd like to ask the teacher what if they found a weapon? Could scar them for life. But he censors a swear. He accelerates, even toward the moment he snaps on his name badge, perches on checkout 7 for the 8:30 surge. Hello, thank you, and goodbye grimaces. The rest of him missing and no one looking. Occasional dialogue. A lemon blonde in the bulging black of premature mourning. At least he'll get to number 1, the poor lad. They were just jealous, adds an over-perfumed senior 3 customers later. I'd chop their bits off. There's no need for violence. Diz is surprised to hear himself answer, always going to happen though, wasn't it? I mean, on that show? 'Cause it's not about singing, it's not about talent. Even their voices are copies of other voices. Every week he'd be saying how much he hated this place, how rough it was, how he needed to get out. Of course people are going to be angry. At which point, a small tub of olive spread floats alone along his conveyor, and he looks up to see a squat, grey-stubbled type nodding grimly. Just grey-green conifers and no wind. Just birds cackling on the flat roofs of these copies of houses. Hells has washing out in the garden, but there's only cold light to dry it. Diz is digging through the forums on his phone, sandwiches open on his lap in case someone asks what he's doing. Serious Rambler says, How come there were no witnesses to the attack? Verses of Truth replies, does anyone really think the security at some small-town hospital is so good no one's been able to get a picture of him in his bed? To engineer a hit from nowhere, you need some kind of emotional hook, adds the Unveiled. It's not about the songs anymore, is it? As long as there's a story, Diz hears himself thinking. An ad triggers on the page. Out his phone, oozing strings, the first flutterings of a room full of divas, emoting before a line's been sung. Diz snaps it off. He's probably the only person in town who's managed not to hear the chorus. This used to be a normal town. 2 weeks ago. Stupid. Someone should do something. If he found Jarell fine, at home, proved it a promo stunt, not a senseless attack, it'd be Diz in the papers. If Diz was in the papers, looking disappointed, he'd be something. If he was something, he'd see. We'll see. But the town could settle down again anyway. Stop faking it. The children have a surprise when Diz gets home. They've been going through originals of songs murdered on the talent show, reconstructing a 51-song playlist, which they now share with him. They're listening to it together when Herta struggles in, nods at all concerned like a foreign ambassador, disappears into the house's folds where she'll sit in scalding water. Diz moves on, with clips, to films remade and ruined, notes taken and viewing lists supplied. After which, off they march upstairs. Lights out. He reads for a bit. On his phone. Jarell still officially unresponsive. Still no leads, say the police. But they would. Campaign to buy a copy a week until he wakes up. 31,314 signatures. Diz doesn't know if Jarell would want this much attention. He didn't in school, although that was mostly racist. On with the badge. Soap, beep. Charity single, beep. A woman with 3 crucifixes saying it's only a machine keeping him alive, keeping him from heaven. Oozing strings. The first flutterings of a room full of divas, emoting before a line's been sung, now lurching into doomy notes as sparse and low as trunks of a timbered forest. It takes all of Diz's skill, honed over years of advertisements, red bills, cries for help, to tune the next 3 minutes out. At home, he proves conclusively to the children, fanned out around, that the book is always better than the film. Finds his bed occupied. Herta must have snuck in unnoticed. A copy of the single on her bedside table, and beep goes his stupid dream of at least protecting his family. Weighed with sadness and a winter duvet, he lies politely next to his wife, who is, imperceptibly, unable to sleep. Lemonade, beep, a woman in gold singing between measured respirations. Dream, and I'll find you. Customers sing the words to themselves. How much is the TV show spending? Diz has an idea. Beep, and texts his line manager. Puked up, gone home. He knows he might be going a bit mad. It's the first excitement he's felt in, maybe since the last birth. The older children are instructed to stay home to research old advertisements, how they perfected their techniques. Is it really the art form of our times? The younger will come with him for cover, towards something stupid, batteries forced into the camera. Close-up of his face. His voice, OK, recording. And now, reversed, arranged in shirt pocket, the hospital front through the carrier windshield. Corridors, juddering, all the pitter-patter in his wake, making sure he gets each sign in one continuous shot, all the way to the ICU. Diz thought he was prepared for the guard. Friend of the family, he says, panning to the brood. I'm here to see Jarell. Sorry, mate, says the guard, and nothing more. The children could wait out here. And nothing. Voice low. Look, I know. Nothing. Closer up in the guard's uniform. He asked to see me. He's in a coma. And now a hand floating into shot, led by a blunt finger. Diz would not contest anyone accusing. What follows, the children shouldn't witness. Is that a camera? Are you recording this? And the hand takes hold. Not in front of the... Diz is grunting. Please, He's struggling. He has been for a while. If he's questioned, he'll be charged. If he's charged, he'll be convicted. If he's convicted, he'll be divorced. You're not the first mad fan trying to get in to see him. Diz shouting, I'm not a fan. Diz? Hell's voice. Hell's face. What are you doing? The guard has him locked in place. He can't even gesture. We're in the middle of a misunderstanding. He could be one of the ones who attacked him, says the guard, red-faced. He's a friend. He was Jarrell's best friend. When we were teenagers, adds Diz, she was my first girlfriend. A long time ago, says Hells. He's got a camera. I do. OK, that's true. He takes it out, turns his head, smiles for the children. The effort to normalise. Dad's not mad. Life's just hard. I bought it for you. Into her hand, fingers flat, ungrasping. It's just something stupid, but I thought you could... And her arms are around him. And he's somehow not surprised she still smells like parks going dark and alcopop living rooms. Guard and children embarrassed by how long the hug persists. She invites him in, alone, to find continental bruises, clustered tubes like roots. She nods with conviction when he asks, can he hear us? Beep. You were always a good guy. Beep. I can't. He says sorry. A much shorter hug. Sorry. Beep. Sorry to the guard as he rushes for air. When he's calm again, when they're all seat-belted, he puts the radio on, the wipers on. Oozing strings, the first flutterings of a room full of divas emoting before a line's been sung, now lurching into doomy notes as sparse and low as trunks of a timbered forest. Diz watches rain-lashed bouquets droop from the traffic lights. Beep for Jarrell, left on its side and blurring. The slow soar of the chorus. There's no night so blue could stop me swimming to you. I've been distracted, he says, to her back. He knows she's awake because it knotted when he crept into bed. Does he know that the children threw out all the food from the cupboards with preservatives, artificial colours? He does not. Does he know they've requested what they call a vinyl player, also a typewriter, new clothes that look more old-fashioned, and... No, he doesn't. No. This is you, she says, slow. Diz says, I'll negotiate. I'm sorry, he says, and she's frozen between responses, which some might see as progress. Letting his hand rest on her, where the stress is, remembering the thoughtlessness with which they once came together. There's no night so deep. His voice, cracking around the breath, can't be filled with all our dreams. He can never hold a tune. That's nice, she says.
Anti-Fan was written by Neil Noon and read by Lloyd Hutchinson. The producer was Jeremy Osborne. Knights of the Hunter was a Sweet Talk production for BBC Radio 4.